Hello, this is Donna. I'm the Transdimensional Twin Flame and the Afterlife Artist. I have a thriving relationship with my husband who crossed into the spirit world in 2021 because I was deeply guided ever since I had a spiritual Kundalini awakening in 2015 when he and I started talking. I was guided to start taking mediumship classes in 2019, 14 months before he passed. I didn't know anything about mediumship. I didn't know you could study it online, but I was convinced by the teacher that I listened to that it was real. So I decided that would be a good skill to have, not knowing that it was going to become my entire life. So in the past 3.5 years or so, my partner in spirit, Chris, and I have continued our relationship to the point where we got married. We had a wedding on Zoom, and our guests were all mediums. He asked me to marry him. I'm able to hear him with clairaudience. I can see him in different ways with clairvoyance, although as far as when people say they see spirits just walking around solid like a person, I haven't seen that. I have seen him with my eyes open. It's just not the way that people describe yet, although it will be because he has that ability to project himself, and I do have objective clairvoyance, which is the kind of clairvoyance where you can see with your eyes open, not just with your eyes closed. And he and I have also developed the ability for me to bilocate and visit him across the veil. I have experienced our own wedding reception for 3 days. I was taken spontaneously across the veil to experience this crazy concert that we put on right after my transition day, just like he promised we would. And it was 3 days straight. And that started spontaneously a few years ago. I wasn't sure what to call it because it wasn't out of body, because I didn't leave my body. I knew I was in my body, but I was also somewhere else. And the room changed. I saw a different reality. So what I'm going to talk about today are a couple of synchronicities, and I'm going to talk about how you can use synchronicities as a language. You don't have to have a partner across the veil. Anybody can do this. Synchronicities and serendipitous events are similar. There's other terminology for these events, but basically it's noticing patterns that have meaning in your life, and a lot of times they will be linked in time, which is the synchronous, where the synchronous term comes from, because chronos means time, and they are synced up, synchronous. So you might notice, right when you're thinking about someone, they call you and you haven't spoken to them in 10 years or something. You might start noticing number synchronicities where when something in particular is going on in your life, you'll see a repeating number. Some people call them angel numbers, and I do believe that these are a communication from the higher dimensions. You could say it's from your higher self. You could say it's from your loved one in spirit if you have one that you're in contact with. You could say it's from your spirit guides. And there are different people that are communicating with you. It's not all the same thing. Your higher self is not the same as a loved one in spirit. It's not all lumped into one entity. You have multiple ways to communicate and multiple people to communicate with. My husband is one of my guides, but he's not my only guide. So the latest one was weird. I started to see the number 207 and 27, either one. Now I do a little numerology practice where I reduce numbers. So if you have like a 3-digit, 2-digit, 3-digit number or more, you can add those digits until you get a 1-digit number. Just keep adding them. Like, if you add 27, you get 2 plus 7 is 9. And then there's a meaning assigned to the number 9. You could find your own meaning. That's important that you do that. But you can also Google it and find out what the number 9 generally means in numerology, which it does mean the ending of a cycle. So 207 is the same number as 27, basically, when you add them, because it's 2 plus 0 plus 7, so you still get 9. The point is, I started to see the number 27 too many times. So many times that I knew it wasn't a coincidence, because it's not random. You can call it coincidence, but I would rather call it synchronicity, because I think that it is deliberate. I've been following synchronicities since my awakening in 2015, and I use them to lead my life. I make decisions partially based on them. They're just another piece of evidence, because I know my subconscious is tuned into the astral, the higher dimensions. And my conscious mind is too. I'm fully tuned in now. So I start saving these instances where I saw 207 or 27. And I just knew it was going to mean something, but I didn't know what, right? Well, what I thought it meant was that my partner wanted a birthday party or something, because his birthday was August 27th. So I figured 27, okay, I get it, we'll do something cool for your birthday. But then I saw it too many times, and I'm like, that's not what it is. It's got to be something else. So I am very in tune to the Lionsgate portal, which peaks on August 8th or 8/8. The number synchronicity dates that repeat, like 887766, those are portals for different energies, and the Lionsgate in August on the 8th and the couple of weeks surrounding it, it's a really good energy for manifestation of, big things really quickly. And I've used it that way for years. And I look back over the years and realize that I've been doing it even before I was conscious that I was doing it. So around this time was the 1-year anniversary of what I just talked about, where I bilocated across the veil for 3 days to my own wedding reception with my husband. And we nicknamed these events Raven Afterlife Parties, because we realized we could create a portal and take groups of people with us to the other side to reunite with their loved ones. And Raven stands for Radio Afterlife, which is the radio station my husband runs. He was always, in physical life, he was a DJ, a musician, a singer, a songwriter, the frontman of several bands, and a DJ. So he does the same thing on the other side. Our loved ones on the other side sometimes just continue their passions, right? With complete freedom, all the equipment they want, anything they want. So he runs this radio station from our house, and he sends me songs constantly that are embedded with light codes to help me up-level and spiritually awaken more and to channel, because that's one of our gifts. We have the gift of channeling, psychometry, where you can implant energy into objects, and you can also read and feel the energy from objects. So we do that, and he puts the energy into these songs, and that's what helped me bilocate to our wedding reception. He told me to play a particular playlist on YouTube that I normally don't. I played it. Every single song just took me to this beautiful party on a floating band stage that was shaped like a giant golden lotus, and we played all these songs, because he's a musician, and I guess over there I play with him. So we just performed all these songs on this stage, and all of our guests were floating around in golden lotus shaped boats. It was fantastic. So it's the year anniversary of that event on August 2nd, I believe it was. And on that day, I went with a group of people to view a property that we were thinking about renting. And the number of the property was 207. And I told you I've been seeing 207 and 27 everywhere. So while we're inside this property, on the anniversary of the 1-year anniversary of the day we created our Raven Afterlife Parties, my friend pulls out a necklace. I'm like in the middle of a conversation with a bunch of people there. He says, "Oh, my wife made this necklace and she wants you to have it." And he gives me this beautiful jade necklace. And it's significant because my partner in spirit marks all of our important anniversaries by giving me something, usually a physical gift. So I knew this was a gift from him. And the significance of the fact that we were inside an address with number 207 was not lost on me, because I'm always paying attention to that. So I would suggest, if you want to get a deeper relationship with spirit, pay attention to these weird synchronicities. They're not accidents, okay? They're little breadcrumbs to lead you to something. And if you start to follow it, you'll develop your own particular language with your own symbolism, and it will lead you down a very deep path. And it can even change your life, because you could make a decision based on something like this, because it'll start to enhance your intuition. This is a practice in mindfulness, paying attention to details, paying very close conscious attention to yourself and your life and your details, the details surrounding you. When you start to do this, you're going to notice patterns and you're going to notice meaning. You're not crazy. This is real. And it only matters if it matters to you. Some people don't really resonate with the whole synchronicity thing. It's fine. There's other things that you can find to communicate with spirit. This is just one of my favorites. So, Chris, my partner, gives me this gift from my friends on the anniversary of our wedding reception across the veil, which was a huge breakthrough in our journey. That's when I started making digital images to represent what it looks like on the other side. That's why I call myself the Afterlife Artist, because I can show you what it looks like with digital art. Well, what it looks like for me, anyway. So I thought this is where the 27 and the 207 synchronicity would end, but it didn't. I kept seeing it to the point where I'm just like, I don't even know what this means, but I'm just going to keep screenshotting the instances where I see it. It got up to like 150 times that I had seen it in a few weeks. It's abnormal, right? And then I figured it out. I remembered, or actually he helped me remember, the first day we ever said we loved each other, which was the first day of our relationship being more than friends, was on February 7th, or 2/7. So his birthday of the 27th of August, and the first day we ever started our relationship was the same day, 27, or 207. So then, as soon as I figured it out, I was like, oh my God, 27 just means I love you. It's one of his many signs for I love you. When I get distracted with the physical world and I'm not paying attention to what I'm hearing him say, because you do have to pay attention. I have clairaudience, but I also have to tune into it. It's loud. I can hear it over music or anything. It doesn't matter what's going on in my environment. His voice is in my head, so I can hear it. But I get distracted because I'm in the physical world and, I'm dealing with physical people and physical things. So he comes up with codes to break through my attention, to get my attention throughout the day. It's just a little like, love you, babe, So as soon as I figured out that 27 or 207 just means I love you, it made that necklace thing even more relevant, because I'm inside number 207, the address, when I get this necklace on our anniversary of our my bilocation to our wedding reception. I just can't make it up. And then since I can channel, so then I hear this entire poem or a little song dictated to me by him, because he's a songwriter, and it's talking about how code 27 means I love you. And he even ends up rhyming the words heaven and seven. Like, he ends the whole thing by saying, does it sound crazy that I'm in heaven and all I can think about is code 27, I love you? It was genius. And I don't write like that, okay? I mean, I'm a good writer as far as describing things, but I do not write poems and songs. That's him. And it was his style. And it just came. I didn't plan it. I didn't think about what I want it to be. It was written. All I had to do was write it down real quick, as fast as I could, so I wouldn't lose it. I wrote down his song. And I have a million stories like that. This is just the latest one. I mean, in fact, it's not even the latest one. There's more that have happened since then. But I just wanted you to know, if you want a deeper relationship with your higher self, your spirit guides, or a particular loved one in spirit, try to develop a language of symbols and synchronicities with them. It could be an important date that you share. It could be their birthday. You could see their favorite animal in real life or, in a picture online, whatever. Just start noticing things that remind you of them, things that snag your attention. It's called a snag. Um, keep keep a journal. Take some screenshots, make a note of it, and then see if it forms a pattern that makes sense to you, because then you guys can start using it to communicate back and forth. Now, think about it. Why would the number 27 be so amazing? Only because it meant something to us. Only because he was dropping the hints and I was picking them up. He's told me so many times, I can only do this with you. Another person wouldn't pick up these crumbs that I'm dropping. You're picking them up. It's the two of us together that make this kind of communication happen. And for that reason, we're very successful, and we have almost every form of after death communication that you can imagine, and some that you can't, because we were doing some things that nobody has done. And it's just the truth. So I just wanted to give you an example of how you can turn something that's a little bit odd as what you might call a coincidence into something really meaningful, because now I still see 27 all the time. I'm tuned into it now. I see it a weird amount of times, and it's not a coincidence. And every time I see it now, I stop and I say, thanks, babe, I love you too. It's just a little perk to my day, right? So I hope that helps. I'll be sharing more of these short stories about our synchronicities, because I think people don't understand exactly how to use them if they've never used them. So we have a lot of examples. Our whole story is like this. For instance, I was born 2 months premature, and I am visually impaired. I'm legally blind because of it. I'm more than 50% blind. One eye has no vision, and one is also legally blind. But I weighed 2 pounds and 11 ounces, right? Well, that's significant because my partner transitioned into spirit on February 11th, 2/11. And then, in a weird twist, 3 years later, to the day, on February 11th, 2024, we're hosting one of our Raven interdimensional parties for our private Facebook group. And this is the first time I've ever gone live on Facebook to host it, to introduce everybody to the concept. And we provide like a playlist, because the light codes will help people transport to the other side to reunite with their loved ones at a party. This one was at a beautiful, magical amusement park by the ocean. And we also share digital images of the location, because I have bilocated previously and found, scouted the location, been shown where we're going to have this party. I create digital images to show what it looks like, and then I share those and the music, the playlist, and people, the light codes in those, in the music and the images, help people get into that portal that we created and reunite with their loved ones. So I'm about to go live on Facebook to host this party that was in honor of his 3-year transition day, because we want to help people understand that these grief holidays, these anniversaries, not holidays, but, anniversaries, they can be really difficult, and we want to help you transmute some of the grief. It's not always easy, but there's a way to celebrate these days. Chris told me, I said, what do you guys call it when you transition? What's that day called for you once you get there? And he said, it's a birthday. It's a birthday. I also asked him, what do they call it there? And he said paradise. And I've heard that repeated after the fact from one of Dolores Cannon's recordings, if you're familiar with her. So, I wouldn't have called it paradise. I don't use that word. But that's what he said, and that's what somebody else said. And the thing is, that's what it felt like to me when I went there. The most beautiful feeling you've ever had. It just feels like, kumbaya. Everybody loves each other. We're all happy. Look, we made it. Thumbs up. Everything's great. But the point is, on 2/11/2024, I'm getting ready to host this interdimensional party to celebrate my husband's 3-year spirit birthday. And I found out that my mom had transitioned. And I found out right before I went live on Facebook. I went ahead and did the party anyway. Thought I might see her at the party, and I did. And then I started to communicate with her, and I channeled her a couple days later. Even though we weren't close in physical life, we've healed a lot of that stuff because we can work together still. Like, I can still communicate with her. So we've done a lot of healing work that way, which I would call quantum therapy. You know, you can meet with anybody in spirit if they want to. You can meet with their higher self, and, basically discuss your issues and heal them. So the 2/11 became, my partner's transition day, my mom's transition day, and my birth weight. Explain that. That's not a coincidence. Most people don't weigh 2 pounds 11 ounces when they're born, and I had a near-death experience because of it. That's what, where I was being trained to be a transdimensional human. So none of this is a coincidence. I was trained for this experience that I'm having now, and to be able to teach it from my birth, from the very minute I was born. And the issues that I have with my eyes, I've always considered myself, disabled, because it's been physically difficult to live a life where you're, visually impaired, when the world is not geared to help people like me. And I actually have clairvoyance that uses the fact that I don't use all of my visual field. There's light energy that I can see with my eyes open 24/7, in a part of my eye that I don't really look out of. I don't know how to explain it, but it's my peripheral. And, if I didn't have these visual issues, I don't know that I would be seeing that. I've been told that my visual issues are a gift. So if you have any kind of issue that you think is difficult in your life like that, it could be that you're being trained to overcome that and to use it to your advantage. In fact, I know that's usually what happens, is anything that we have in life that's a challenge, it's something for us to take on and overcome. It's just something that we've agreed to in our soul contracts, that we would like to face and to overcome, like a hurdle. It'll be a flag that we get to carry of victory when we can overcome these things and learn from them and help other people. Because once you have a situation, like a disability, and you go through a life that's difficult, you're going to have more empathy for other people that have also been through stuff like that. So it does help us become better people. All right. That's all I want to share for now. It went a little longer than I even wanted it to, but my synchronicities are not shallow. I don't just say, oh, I saw 11/11 today. I mean, I do see 11/11 all the time, but this is so much deeper than that my synchronicity stories, I call them meta synchronicities because they just go on and on and on, right? I'll have like 3, 4, 5 layers to these synchronicities, like I just told you. All right, I hope that there was some information in there that would be helpful. Maybe you can just start paying attention a little bit more. That'll be good. And I'll come back and share more in the coming weeks. Thanks so much for watching.